So, welcome to Black Tower Tales Season 2, Episode 3. We are currently on Scene 3 with Chaos 5, Target 11. In the last scene, when last we met our adventurers, Wiggins and Nick's Shadow Cloak were at their house trying to gather their stuff so they can skip town and evade the bounty hunters that were searching for Nyx. Through the course of events, Nyx was able to escape through a window, but Wiggins was captured by the bounty hunters. So my idea for the next logical scene is Nyx attempting to break out Wiggins from the bounty hunters to try and sort of maybe sneak into their camp, sneak into their wherever they're staying, and get him free, and then they can hit the road and go on the lam, essentially. So for the Mythic generator, we need to test the expected scene going into it. And we have a chaos factor of 5, so we need to roll a d10 versus the chaos factor to see if we get the chaos factor or under. So that's a 9. So there's we didn't get a interrupt or adjusted, or what is it, altered scene for this scene. So it's basically starting the way I thought it would. And what's going to happen is, I think it is that evening, we're talking 4 to 5 hours later, Nyx went to the location that she was going to meet Wiggins at, which was the Grove of Butterflies. And he obviously never showed up. So she leaves there after waiting for a certain amount of time. She goes back, sneaks through town, goes back to the place where they were having the reception, maybe goes back to the house, trying to figure out, talk to someone to see what happened, and then finds out that Wiggins was captured. And then finds out, does some tracking. Actually, let's see, how well does she try to track them? I think this is going to influence like how easily she is able to sneak up on them and figure out what's going to happen. So I think this is going to be something where I think it's more of a wisdom check than anything else. She's I mean, they're not really trying to hide themselves, but she's trying to stay sneaky, stay out of sight, but figure out where they are. Are they in a building? Are they camping outside of town? And she gets an 18. So she does it fairly proficiently. She's got we can say that, she's sneaking around with her magic cloak that gives her a lot of concealment, and honestly, that lets her, do all the scouting that she can, or that she wants to, in order to get recon on where Wiggins is being kept. So the question then is, what sort of... where is Wiggins being held? Is he being held at some sort of actual little, jail? Is he just... did they take him out of town? So I'm going to roll... I think... let's try once on the action table. On action 2 table for the Mythic generator. And we got an 86... at Wiggins capture. This is how we're describing where he is captured. 86. Struggle. Okay, so that doesn't tell... actually, I meant to do action 2 table. So suffering. And let's do another descriptor. Suffering. That was amazing. And so... suffering, and then descriptor 1 on the next table. 24. Delightfully. Suffering delightfully. Okay, so suffering delightfully says to me that what's important for where he's being kept isn't really where he's being kept. So I think they're just outside of town on the outskirts. They're not local to the area, so they don't really have any permanent place to stay. So they're sort of camped out on the outskirts of town. But what they're doing, how they've got him bound up in their camp, is not a very pleasant scenario. So they are delighting in his suffering. So that says to me, like, I think what they're doing basically is they I guess the question is, did they beat him up when they got him back, when they got him into the handcuffs or the manacles? I think that's a 50-50 at least. We're at Chaos 5, so 50-50, yeah. No, so they didn't beat him up. All right. But they're not, he did, mess up the person who was sort of leading them. So they're not keeping him, they don't really have any compunction against keeping him captive in sort of an uncomfortable situation. So what that says to me is that he's, so they're on the outskirts of town. And they are going to, he's basically still has the manacles on behind his back, and they found a tree that he is that is not very big around, and they're basically they took the manacles off, put his arms behind his back around the tree, and left him there, and he's sort of just chilling on the out, because you've got Wiggins off to the side, and then sort of in the camp proper, you have the campfire in the center. Maybe on the other side, you've got some of the tents that they're maybe sleeping in, and yeah, it's not a complicated setup. So what we're going to do is, for the camp, we've got Wiggins off to the side next to a tree. There's going to be, let's say there's a campfire here in the center. Let's see, we know let's say there are 8 of the mercenaries total. The question is, do we see the person who looked just like Nyx? I think that's, even if the person is still alive, I think that's nearly impossible. Let's just say it's very unlikely for 25. 27, so no, we do not see Nyx's twin. And let's say we've got a D6 for how many of the bounty hunters are on watch. Actually, I think what we're gonna do instead is Nyx is gonna wait. She's gonna wait until later in the evening, when there is only one person awake. She's just, hopefully, there's gonna be a time in the night where there's only one of the bounty hunters sort of awake and making, being a guard. So these dice around the sides are signifying like tents that are around the campfire. Wiggins is off to the side. There's one of these bounty hunters that's still awake. The question is, does this ever happen? I think it's likely, because they're not going to want a quarter of their dudes, especially when one of them is sort of down for the count and needs some healing. So I think it's very likely that they are going to, at some point in the night, have only one person awake and guarding. So 42, yeah, that's under the 75. The question is when. So we've got generally, let's say a 10-hour evening. When at night? We'll say this starts at about 8 p.m. and then goes until 6 a.m. This is how long does she have to wait around? Oh, wow. So the guards basically, immediately, they're like, okay, we're all going to sleep. You have first watch. And so we find ourselves then with Nyx stalking around the campsite, seeing Wiggins tied up against the tree or manacled to the tree, and only one guard around to keep watch on him. I did just realize that I've had forgotten something along the way. Between scenes, Nyx is going to take an action to heal herself. And this is in the Index Card RPG book somewhere. I don't remember exactly what the rules are for it. I know in combat you can heal yourself and heal 1 hit point, and I believe you can heal 1 heart between if you're not in combat and you're in a safe area. So I think at some point she was in a safe area, which functionally means she healed to full. Wiggins has not had a chance to do that. We'll say that Nyx bound her anywhere she was injured or bleeding. And so now we have Nyx approaching the campsite with Wiggins tied up against a tree, or manacled to a tree. And now she sees her opportunity and she's going to take it. She has, at this point, all of her equipment. Actually, let's put her on top. Yeah, she has, I think she has a short sword and a short bow, I believe, as well. So the question is she just going to try to sneak him away, or is she going to just kill the guy? I think she's going to try to sneak him away, because I think that's just the way it's most likely to be successful. So she's going to come up, and in fact, it's going to be closer to over here, and she's going to have this hide. So she has a +5 to hide. We've got target 11. And I don't think this is going to be an easy. If it was dead of night, like 2 a.m. or something, I think it would be an easy hide check. But it's only like 9 o'clock. It's early evening. Or early night, maybe mid-evening. And so this is going to be target 11. She's got a +5. So hopefully, yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so 17. That means she's able to get up and sort of sneak up, come around here. Remember, she's got it's basically a magic cloak that makes her almost invisible to the backdrop of whatever she's standing against. And so she sneaks up to Wiggins. Now, Nyx doesn't have any sort of lock-picking equipment on her. And what she's going to do is she's going to try to very quietly alert Wiggins to the fact that she's there. I think that's going to be charisma. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. She's going to whisper to him like, "Hey, 14, that's a success. She has +1 to 15. Now the question is, what is Wiggins going to make any sort of sound? Is he going to react? And I think this again is going to be wisdom. Like, how is he going to react to having her basically sneak up on him? I think this also doesn't seem like something that's going to be particularly difficult or easy, but wisdom 3. So he's going to make some sort of noise. He's going to be like, he's sitting there thinking about like, man, how am I going to get out of this? And all of a sudden he gets like a whisper in his ears like, hey, and he freaking does not compose himself very well. And the question then is, is the guard going to notice? I think he's got his own wisdom check. He's a gnome too, so he gets a wisdom. Is he going to notice? 17. So yeah, he notices. And in fact, because he notices, and Wiggins is just like, Wiggins makes a noise, and I think what happens is the guard basically gets up and walks towards Wiggins and says something along the lines of, "Oh, hey, keep it down out here. Our guys are trying to sleep." The question I have though is he gonna like do something to Wiggins? Is he going to kick him? Or is he going to, check his bonds or something like that? I think the question is he gonna kick Wiggins? Is he gonna physically assault him? I would have done 50-50, but it's 69, so that's no. So basically, the guard walks up to Wiggins and says, "Hey, it's like, hey, keep it down over here. What the fuck?" But Nyx is right there, and I think we have a chance for the guard to see her. She's got her amazing cloak on, so this is going to be a hard check for the guard. So it's going to be target 14, and he has a wisdom of +1, so he's not likely to do it. 9. So no, he walks up to Wiggins and says, "Hey, keep it down over here." Sort of gives him the eyeball, but he's so focused on Wiggins that he doesn't notice Nyx in her magic cloak, sort of just huddling in the darkness behind. And he returns back to the campfire. A moment or two passes. She attempts now to, in complete silence, to remove the manacles from Wiggins. I think this is something that's going to be hard for her. She has a +2, and she doesn't have any sort of any tools that will help with this. And actually, I think this isn't a check. This is going to be an effort roll or an effort thing. So she needs basically to get a 10 effort in order to finally to get through the picking of these manacles. So she's rolling a dex. I think it's going to be difficult too. So it's target 14. 8 + 2, she doesn't make it. And then Wiggins is in this scene now, so he's also able to take some sort of action. And I don't know that anything he's going to do is going to help her. So Nyx gets another chance. It's a 14. Actually, she's taking it an additional time, but that roll is not good enough. And I'm going to say if she fails again, there's going to be some sort of chance for some. Actually, this is just seeing how long it takes her to pick the lock. If she fails again, that's a 13. So I think she's starting to get frustrated with how difficult it is to pick the locks of these, pick this manacle, and there's a chance that the guard is going to hear her, start rustling around and trying to pick the lock. So he gets a chance with his wisdom. I think it's a target. I'll say it's normal. Target 11. So he has a +1. Oh, so 12. So yeah, he's again. We're talking. This is a minute, 2 minutes later. He turns around and hears some sort of noise coming from Wiggins over there. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I think Wiggins has a chance now to do some subterfuge of his own. What he's going to do is he's going to say, "Oh, you sons of bitches, you've got me tied up on this tree. I've got my back's aching. I'm not going to be able to, I need to actually, my back's against this tree and I can't even sit up straight. Can you give me a minute?" So he's going to try to convince the guard to take off his manacles for just a moment and let him stretch out. And this is going to be, should this be a competing? I think this is going to be a competing roll. So he has, Wiggins has a charisma of +0. So he's going to have a 13 roll. And then I guess it's sort of like an insight check of the guard. He's going to have a +1 for his wisdom. So compare this to the 13, 11, 12. So the guard sort of takes pity on Wiggins and says, "Oh, okay. All right, fine." He comes around behind the tree where to gain access to the manacles, but he once again has a chance to see Nyx. And I think this is going to be another contested roll. Actually, I don't think that. I think it's going to, but she still has her magic cloak. He's going to have a difficult time, a target 14 to spot her. So wisdom +1, 7. So he does not spot her as he comes around and undoes her the shackles that are around Wiggins's arms. The question then is, what does Nyx do? Wiggins is the life of this one guard is potentially free if they can silently neutralize this guard. I think she's sort of a live free, not live free, die hard. She's sort of a live fast, die young. That's what I was trying to think of. Personality. And so seeing that Wiggins is, potentially freeable right here, right now, she's going to, she's going to attack the guy, whatever he's the guard, and so she's going to slash at him with her. I think she can't use her short sword because that would take it's not fast enough. A dagger is going to be way faster, so she's slashing at him with her dagger. It's just a normal dagger, and a 3. Actually, it's because he's not aware of her, it's going to be easy, but that's still only an 8, and she has a +2. +2. So that's still a 5. So all of a sudden, the guard is has undone the manacles around Wiggins's arms. Wiggins is standing up when this dagger flashes out of the darkness and just barely misses the guard. And Wiggins turns around and sees what's happening, and he doesn't have his spell book. He doesn't have his wand. I think he is going to take, an attack of his own against the guard. But he is specifically going to try to keep the guard quiet. He's not really attacking, but he's going to basically grapple the guard. So he's going to use his strength, which is unupgraded at 0, and he's going to basically reach out and grab the guard. I think this is going to be difficult because he's been sort of bound up for the last who knows how many hours. So it's a target 14, and he only has a +0, so this isn't super likely to succeed. But he does. Oh, let's go. So the dagger flashes out of the night, but misses the guard, and as the guard is sort of like, oh geez, Wiggins reaches up and comes behind the guard and grabs him around the neck and covers up his mouth. The guard is going to take an action to try to, get out of the hold that Wiggins has him in. I think this is just a contested roll. I should have said what that was before. The first roll is going to be Wiggins' strength of 5. And then this is going to be the strength of the guard, 18. So the guard struggles for a moment against Wiggins, but Wiggins is a wizard, so he's not super strong. And the guard gets away, but just as he gets away, Nyx is able to come and attack once again with her dagger, 13, and she's going to be able to do weapon effort +1. So that's a 3 damage. against the guard. And now, honestly, um, Wiggins needs to try. He's going to once again try to actually, because I mean the guard in this sort of little melee, the guard does get free for a moment, so he's going to try to yell. Let's see. I think that's a relatively simple thing. So we're going to say target 11 for his charisma. I think that makes sense. So yeah, he's able to get out a little bit of a yell to try to wake up the other guards in the camp. But then Wiggins once again tries to restrain him. Oh, with a 15. All right. So yeah, once again the guard is restrained. And then he's going to attempt to get away. That was Wiggins, and now here's the guard. 18. He gets away once again and makes another yell. I think at this point we need to figure out, are any of the guards getting up and getting out of their tents? I think at this early stage it's relatively unlikely. I think we're talking about like one round has passed, like a few seconds. Yeah, I'd say it's very unlikely for a guard to have been to be getting up and out at this point. So 25% chance. 96. Oh shit. So not only is that a no, that's a hell no. What that says to me is like unless something dramatic changes and he's like the guard's able to like get away and use some sort of instrument like a cooking pot or something. I'm thinking that what that says to me is that those guards, unbeknownst to the guard that's on duty, those guards are out cold. So what I think happens here is Nyx once again is going to... I think Nyx is going to take a different avenue. She's already stabbed him once last turn. And what she's going to do is she's going to grab him and like hold the dagger right in front of him and be like, "Hey you, if you value your life, you're gonna let us go, or I swear to God, I'll gut you." And so she's gonna. I think it says to me like that's an easy target. So it's DC 8, but she only has a +1. So I think she's got a decent chance at this one. 11. So that's successful. She is able to convince the guard that he basically should let them go, to intimidate him into being quiet. The guard basically says, "All right, fine." And then, so what she does is she manacles him to the tree. In a similar, not in the same way, but so he's just arms forward around the tree, and so she manacles the guard to the tree, and then makes her escape with Wiggins. What I'm thinking though is that the guard, as soon as they're basically out of arm's reach, he's going to start making noise, and to try to wake up the people, and that just has Wiggins and Nyx trying to get away as fast as they can, because they know he can't chase after them. But we know that even though that guard is sitting there making all this noise, the guards in the tents aren't going to get up for a little while at least, and that ends the scene. So the guards she's able to get away with Wiggins. The guards are going to wake up, and let's say D6 minutes, because they're all 6 minutes. Okay, so they have a large head start, and they're able to make off in the darkness. It's still early night, so it's not super late or anything. I think we'll figure that out next. I was wondering if the moon is up, how bright it actually is at night, but we don't need to figure that out right now. And so I think that's the end of the scene. Those two make it away into the darkness, And the question is, like, we need to just update the factors for the next scene. Do I think Chaos went up or down with that? Chaos, I think it was pretty much under control. I think Chaos 4. Chaos goes down to 4. I think target stays at 11. And yeah, I don't think we don't have any change to the cast. Maybe instead of Evil Sister, or in addition to Evil Sister, we have the bounty hunters in general. But yeah, and there's no additional threads. I guess that thread was closed, but it's opening up a new thread for. Well, the bounty hunters are already after us, so we don't really need a new thread relative to the massive host and the wanted status of Nyx and Wiggins. So it looks to me like that ends the scene, that ends the session here, and that was cool. I wasn't sure if they were going to get away from that in one piece and without having to kill someone. But yeah, that was cool. We'll see you next time.